Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for taking the time
Hey,
to meet
what's up,
with me.
Kevin? How you doing?
Great, yourself?
Good, good, good.
Huge fan of Into the Bad. Huge fan of yours, but Into the
Uh,
Badlands was, next level. And now
Thank you.
American Born Chinese, another new level. Your career spans, both Chinese and American cinema. How is American Born Chinese different from like the other projects you worked on?
It sits right there in the middle of it all. You know, so many years in Asia and then coming back here and working in the US for the past 7, 8 years has been really interesting experience because you get to see the differences in both sides. But what was interesting is like in both places, I always felt like an outsider. You know, in Asia, even though I was really well embraced there and became a huge star there, I always felt different because of my background. You know, I grew up 21 years in the States before I moved over there. And so a lot of aspects of my personality very different than local people, you know. And then vice versa, coming back here, working on American productions, being like one of the only few Asians on set, you also feel like an outsider, right? And so this project was like the perfect conglomeration of both because we had, people from Asia, people from America, a bunch of Asian Americans working together, and it just felt like a family, you know. And everyone came from different backgrounds, but we also shared similar collective experiences growing up and all that. And so a lot of the themes and topics and little nuances and details that we're talking about in the show, everyone's experienced in some way, form of another or another. And so there's, a general collective understanding of what we're doing and why it's important to be telling this story.
Cool that you finally finally feel like home, especially if being kind of outsider in both places, finally a place to become call home. Kind of
Yeah.
building off of that, like what part do you like? What do you think American Born Chinese is going to mean to like Asian Americans to see like just a full series of us?
I think it's really important because representation is kind of everything. If you don't see yourself represented on the screen, then you don't feel like you belong, you know. And I grew up with that, you know, in the 70s and 80s, there was not a great representation for us on screen. And so for the next generation, for my daughter to be able to watch a whole bunch of things right now that's out, anything from Crazy Rich Asians to Beef to this to all that, they're seeing themselves on screen and they're seeing possibilities, right? I never grew up with the possibility thinking that I could be an actor because I didn't see myself on screen. And it just kind of happened to me. And if it wasn't for that moment of fate, I don't think I would have been in this business, right? But to be able to be out there and inspire another generation to come up and want to try and give it a shot, I think that's really, really important. But more importantly is that we're seen and that we're being able to tell our authentic stories, and that a kid in like Iowa can feel like he's not alone anymore because there's something on screen that's talking about what he's dealing with in that moment in time.
Being able, like I'm from Stockton, it's kind of near Berkeley. It's like, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
being
Yeah.
in entertainment is just weird, really weird. Like even
Right.
now, it's still like, how'd I end up doing anything like this?
Right. 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 And it's not a career path that our parents really encouraged us to go to either, right? So,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like I was supposed to be an engineer. My mom's looking at me right now. Sorry,
oh,
I'm,
dude, me
I'm
too.
visiting.
My dad was an engineer and he tried to get me to be an engineer. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Yeah. So to be able to like listen to your parents, but step away from it and then try to find your success in that world is a really hard tightrope to deal with. I remember for the first 2, 3 years of my career, my dad kept calling me, asking me when I was going to come home and get a real job. Right. And I was like,
Yeah,
I've done like 6 movies already, Dad. What are you talking about? You know? And it wasn't until he came on set one day and saw like how hard it was to actually make a movie that he realized that it wasn't all fun and games, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's we're trying to teach them something after they've spent their whole lives teaching you. It's like kind of finding
Yeah.
that balance.
Yeah.
That's my time, Daniel. Thank you so much. Can't wait for everyone to see you and see the series.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.